America. It is Monday, March 20th, not year 2017. I have to say that to myself every once in a while. And we are live. You are listening to Morning News Radio. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join me live here every weekday morning from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. on Red State Talk Radio. Like I said, we are live. We're a morning show that's a little bit different, a little bit unusual, where you are the guest. And if you'd like to join us, give us a call at 402-858-1938. That's area code 402-858-1938. Love to hear from you. The way the show works, for those that don't know, we kind of tested everything out last week. I do apologize. We had some issues, but we got them worked through, I believe we're good to go, as they would say. But the way the show works is that every morning we will pick the top 10 or 20 topics. We will talk about those topics for the next 2 hours. And of course, you can always call in if you want to change the topic. You can call in at 402-858-1938. We are live. It is officially 6:01, almost 6:02 a.m. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. Man, it went by quick, though. This one was strange. This is a strange weekend. It went by really, really, really quick. But here we are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Wow. Talk about the weekend. A lot of things over the course of the weekend. The big one, of course, obviously North Korea. We'll talk about that. GOP healthcare and the Trump budget. There's probably about 4 things this week that are going to affect all of us, or that we need to be watching for. The first thing, obviously, is North Korea. That's some scary stuff down there. Over there, I should say, not down there. So, and of course, so you got North Korea, Trump's budget, GOP healthcare this week, and also the wiretap claim. We're going to have some open Senate testimony today, which is going to be unusual. FBI normally doesn't do that, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But before we get there, let's just kind of cover some of our news stories for today that affect you, things you need to know when you go into work, sit around the water cooler, listen to other shows as the day progresses, and everything. So the first thing is going to affect you, and I guess all of us in the pocketbook, is oil prices are dropping. That's right. So oil at yesterday or Sunday, prices were at $51.56 per barrel. But they're down 20 cents. Yeah, oil prices fell Monday as rising U.S. drilling activity and steady supplies of OPEC countries, despite touted production cuts, pressured already bloated markets. That's right. So oil prices are going to be down for all of you. The intermediate crude futures were down 28 cents to $48.50 a barrel. Yeah. So, a lot of people will talk about, well, these oil companies. So, you're always going to hear me talk about the Fed. And one of the things, and this is actually a byproduct of the Fed moving interest rates, a lot of these commodities that are especially traded in U.S. dollars or U.S. petrodollars, you'll hear that term thrown around a lot. A lot of these commodities are tied to what the Federal Reserve or the U.S. dollar. So as the Fed starts moving the interest rates, and i.e. they start making the U.S. dollar valuable again, because, of course, how do you make money off the dollars? It's by its interest, right, that it pays out. Anybody with a savings account would know that. Most of the millennials out there have no idea what that is. So, everything is on the debit card. They don't know what a savings account is. But I'll tell you, you put money in the bank pays you interest for using your money, right? If the interest rates are down at 0%, that money has zero value. Basically, it's not making you any money. You're actually giving the bank free money with it. Well, with the Fed moving the interest rates up or increasing the interest rates, that is a byproduct of that move. It's pretty significant. A lot of people don't realize how much of crude oil is actually moved by the interest rates that are out there. And we're starting to see that now. Of course, they're going to say, "Oh, it's production, it's this, it's that." I can tell you this: the U.S. Is not doing any fracking of recent or of late, so we're not producing any more oil, but the price is still moving, and that is a byproduct. And a lot of people don't. Those in the know, those in the financial world, those that are tied to the Federal Reserve and rely on the Federal Reserve to pay their bills and stuff, do not want you to know that. That's that dirty little secret that they don't want you to know. But hey, you listen to the show every morning here on Red State Talk Radio, and we'll fill you in. We'll make sure that you have the information you need to know. So, of course, crude oil prices are going down. Uber president Jeff Jones quit after 6 months. Uber is one of those enigmas for me. I don't know. I really, when I lived in Chicago, I got around quite a bit by taxi, and I get it. I understand the whole concept of pay someone to drive you from point A to point B, especially in your modern cities and everything. It's, to me though, I don't know. My only concern with Uber, and it's always been a concern with Uber, is number one, taxi cab drivers. I'm pretty confident. There's only one time I'll say where I didn't feel safe with a taxi cab driver, and that was when I was in Chicago in about the early 2000s. And no, actually, it was before. Wow, I'm getting old. But yeah, when I went to Chicago on a Financial Management Association's meeting when I was a freshman in college, and we were in Chicago. Believe it or not, first time I was ever in a taxi, and had to go back to the hotel. We were staying in downtown, and the taxi cab driver purposely drove around. Now, for those that know Chicago or don't know Chicago, we have the river, the Chicago River that runs right through Chicago, and there's bridges that span one connection to one side to the other side. And the taxi cab driver proceeded to go around the barrier. It said "bridge closed," and the kid is like, he's like, "Don't worry about it, no problem, don't worry about it." And that was the only time I was actually concerned. I'd say the hundreds, if not thousands, of times I took a cab or a taxi in downtown Chicago. That was the only time that I was really concerned. But I can tell you, Uber's a little bit, I don't know. I just don't, I understand. I get the business concept. I get it. But the problem for me is that you're getting in someone else's car. You don't know if they have insurance. You really don't. Now, even the big taxi cabs, though, you don't know if you have insurance there. Each cab in Chicago, and actually for each metropolitan, this is something that you guys, if you didn't know this, will enlighten you here. Part of the benefit of listening to Morning News Radio here with your host, Jeff Norton, on Red State Talk Radio, and we are live. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to give us a call, 402-858-1938. That's 402-858-1938. Love to hear from you. But one of the things a lot of people don't realize, when you get in a taxi cab, each taxi cab is its own corporation. Even though it says yellow cab or express cab or whatever it is, that's the dispatching company. That's not the cab company. The cab itself is its own corporation. Now, why do they do that? Litigation. That's exactly why. they do that. It's for litigation purposes, or just in case they get in an accident or whatever. You sue the cab, right? You sue the corporation, i.e., the cab, and you hope to God they have money. You hope to God they have money, and that's the advantage with a cab. I can see that. That is one of the advantages because they're required to do it. But who's to say they paid their premiums that day, right? Who's to say that? I've actually seen them go to cabs and they have these medallions. If you look at the cab, they have some kind of medallion. And in Chicago, it's a little round disc, and those medallions are basically their cab license. I've actually seen law enforcement pop those medallions off because people didn't pay their bills or didn't have their insurance or whatever. And they would literally come up, and they had a device that would just pop those medallions are bolted through the hood of the car. And I've seen them. I've seen them literally ripped off of cabs by law enforcement and everything. So that's the good thing, But Uber, like I said, I understand. I get it. It's the competition and everything. But I'm I'd be a little leery. Because who is the governing body to regulate that? Now, a lot of you guys out there say, well, we don't need government. I get that. I understand. But there are times where government is good. You like to drive on that highway, right? You like that interstate going from point A to point B, right? You like our defense. You like your security and everything. So government does serve a purpose. Now, I'm a libertarian, so I'll tell you, I believe in limited government. I guess I'm selfish. That way. If you think about it. Yeah, I want limited government, but, we need the government in certain things. And we're going to get to that, talk about government budget, Trump's budget. I'm hearing a lot of people complaining about the NEA and all the cuts that are going, the $54 billion in cuts that he is proposing in his budget. That the $100 million that he's already saved us over the period of the next 10 years. And all I've got to say, for those that are out there whining, Trump won. I think he was very clear on what he was going to do. I think it was very clear. Trump won. And him cutting these budgets, good or bad or indifferent. Now, for me, it's good. I'm happy he's cutting the budget. I'm happy he's getting rid of those programs. See, I'm a firm person that believes that the government's sole responsibility is to protect its people and to protect interstate commerce. Right? That's what they're entitled to under the United States Constitution. The Constitution was passed to, and the laws that allow the government to do what it does, basically revolved around the interstate commerce, buying, selling, trade between states, and all of that, and the general protection of the United States. All this other stuff under the General Welfare Clause has been added. Medicare, Medicaid. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't have a heart." Yeah, I have a heart. I do. But I think that what happens is like every other social program that's out there, people become way too dependent. I mean, look at us here in the United States versus other countries. Now, granted, you don't. Well, we do have poverty here in the country, in the United States, unfortunately. I mean, one of the worst things that ever happened to the family unit was the fact that we have this thing called Social Security, and we have, your retirement. And let me explain to you why I think that's a bad idea. It hurts the family unit. If you go to other European countries, you will see generations of family members living in the same house. They take care of each other. Now, I know that most of us in America can't stand our fellow family member. That's not true in the Norton household. We love our family. Well, our immediate family. And, we enjoy having them around. But think about that. You have generations in European countries and stuff. You have generations of family living in the same household. So you have everybody kind of helping out in that house. You have other family members. Wouldn't it be awesome to have grandma and your great grandma, especially around dinner time? That's the most important day of my life. Part of my day is dinner. But can you imagine the meals you'd have? It'd be incredible. The fact that you have 3 or 4 people helping out, participating. Can you imagine what that would be like? Can you imagine, instead of sending your kids off to a stranger or to some corporation, or worse off, some school to indoctrinate, possibly abuse? Never nurture. Never nurture. But can you imagine what life would be like if you had grandma in the house? If you had grandpa with all his great wisdom sitting with you saying, yeah, you probably don't need that TV. That's probably why most of Americans don't like their family members, because they don't like to be told no. They don't. I know I don't. But it's that cost-benefit analysis that we do. The benefits far, far outweigh the costs of having them around. My in-laws, great example. I love my in-laws. I love my mom and dad. Don't get me wrong. I'm fortunate, but I love my in-laws. They are awesome people. They are awesome people. And moving to Florida, that's one of the advantages. I wish my mom and dad were a little bit closer. We are closer. They're about halfway, not too far away. But I will tell you this, having my in-laws literally an hour and a half away is awesome. And the fact of the matter, when we get tired of the Gulf, we can go to the Atlantic side and sit there in Daytona with them, hang out. But, it's just, can you imagine what it's like? What it would be like to have, babysitters, people to help that actually cared about their own flesh and blood. And that's part of the reason, these social programs, we have become so dependent upon the government for our nurturing. And so that's why the budget is hurting so many people. That's why they're just someone sent me a preparation age picture because I was complaining. They said I had a butt hurt. I was complaining because of the complainers. I wasn't complaining because of the cut in the budget. I think it's awesome. I actually do. I think it's awesome. Our government should not be in the business of taking from one and giving to others. That's right. Now, that's a lot of people say, well, our government shouldn't be in the business of defense. Well, that's different, though. You're not taking my money. I don't get anything. Let's talk about being selfish. I'll be honest with you. Be utterly honest with you. The rub for most of us is that the government takes money from us, from a paycheck, pays it to bankers, number one. That's that whole Federal Reserve. I'm going to pound that in. If you guys listen to me long enough, you're going to know I'm not a fan of the Federal Reserve. Never was. Especially since I saw what I saw, and I know where the money goes. It goes to the banks. I think they get enough of our money. I really do. But it's just it's aggravating. But I think what the rub is for most Americans, for most of us on the conservative side, or most of us on the personal responsibility side, are offended by the fact that the government takes money from us at gunpoint. Because if you don't pay your taxes, they will come and kick it. It does happen, and you will go to jail. So on their fear of prosecution, they take your money and they give it. They just give it to someone else, right? Just hand it to them. Here, sit at home, watch Oprah, watch OWN, watch whatever you want. But make sure you still vote for us. And they just give. That's the rub. There's nothing in return. There's no. Now the argument under the general welfare clause is is the fact that, and a lot of these politicians would use this argument. They don't use it anymore. They just assume that they use the argument of, well, we're going to take it from you. You don't have a choice. But the whole thing is, well, your communities are better off. You don't have people lay in the street. You don't have hunger. You don't have famine. Well, I disagree. Au contraire, I have to say. I have to disagree with you on that one. Yeah, you don't have people in the street, but what you do have is you develop a parasitic society, right? You have generations now of family members on the welfare. You can go into, now I'm not against helping out people who have suffered an unfortunate circumstance. I'm not against that. We have to take care of our young, our elderly, and those that cannot take care of themselves. What I am talking about, and you know who they are. I'm sure you have family members. I know I do. I was listening to one yesterday on Facebook. I just had to block her. I literally had to block her. As I hear, and I know their history. I know their story. I know how they took and took and took and took from my grandmother. And that's my grandmother's prerogative to give to them, so I shouldn't complain about that. But I saw it. And now it's the same thing. But yet they have enough money to go get a tattoo, right? They have whatever. I shouldn't care, but I do. But it's that that's the mentality right there. And the reason being is because people, what happens is people think that is the norm. They think that's normal to expect someone else to pay their bills. That's normal. And that's the problem that I have with this whole social program that we have out there. It's not that we're taking care of our downtrodden, the people that have found misfortune in life, our young, our elderly. It's not that we're doing that. What it is that we are breeding, training, teaching, and encouraging parasitic behavior from human beings. And instead of teaching and nurturing and telling them to go to their families and let their families work it out, because think about it. You have family members, if you're there with families, and families build their own small micro community, and they take care of each other and everything, you have less dependence upon the government. See, the government knows exactly what it's doing. Please. They're a lot smarter than you and I. This is all by design. I call it economic slavery. They keep you in a sense of slavery where you will never be able to better yourself. You will always be beholden, an indentured servant to the bankers, to the politicians, for your subsistence in life. And that's what I have a problem with. So when the budgets come out and I hear about all of these social economic programs and everything that are being cut, I applaud. Thank you. Get rid of them. Make the people stand on their own 2 feet. Society will be better off. I am a firm believer in that. And if you agree or disagree, we are live. I'd love to hear from you. You can give us a call at 402-858-1938. That's 402-858-1938. I'll say that one more time, very slowly. And if you have a cell phone, go grab it. Teach you a little trick here. You can dial our phone number, 402-858-1938. Dial the number. And then hang up. Maybe you can't talk to us. Maybe you're doing your hair as you're listening to the show, getting ready for work. put it in your speed dial. And then that way, when you're on your way to work, we'd love to hear from you. Look, I'm not going to tell you. You drive. You can drive and listen and talk. I don't care. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not the big brother. I'm not the government going to tell you what you can and cannot do. So hit that send button. You can listen to us while you're on hold to the show here at Red State Talk Radio. And we'll get you on the air and let you know. But, I'm curious. What do you think? What do you think about the budgets? Agree, disagree, upset, anything. This is your show. This is the only show that we give you the ability to sound off, to have an opinion. Your opinion does matter. I might not like your opinion. I might not agree with your opinion, but your opinion does matter. So if you have one, and I know you do, feel free to give us a call as we roll on. So, yep, today, the budget's going to be a big thing. You're going to hear about all the cuts, Big Bird. Hey, I heard the United States military is going to be hiring again. Imagine Big Bird in the helmet. There you go. There's a Saturday Night Live skit for you. Saturday Night Live. Put Big Bird in a helmet. Make him go to work. Make him earn his keep in life. So, of course, we also have the GOP health care. There's been some changes. This is the thing. I am not a fan of ACA. I'm not. I don't think it went far enough. I really didn't. I don't think the Affordable Care Act went far enough. And let me explain that. I think that if the government, see, I'm all about equality, fairness here. If you're going to force a segment of society to pay for someone else's services, then you should make everybody pay, right? I know a lot of people, you hear universal health care, right? Or one payer system. Now, to me, I don't think you have a legal constitution right to health care. I don't think you have a God-given right to health care. If you had a God-given right to health care, don't you think God would provide that for you? Think about that statement. For those that use the word, I love these politicians. Oh, you have a God-given right to health care. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Please, God, heal me. And it's amazing because those who do believe in God, this is the oxymoronic statement about that whole statement. Those that do believe in God, that's exactly what they believe. Those that don't believe in God want someone else to pay for it. Once again. They think they're entitled to that, right? But yet the politicians will use that and say, have you watch these politicians, watch the Nancy Pelosi's of the world. You have a God-given right to health care. All right. God, lay it on me, brother. That's the way I feel. God will take care of me. Who wants to live forever? I don't. But going back to the GOP health care, so if you want to talk about equity, if you want to talk about keeping it fair, the best way to keep it fair, if you're going to have this type of system, is to either number one, get rid of it, right? Put it in God's hands, since you're going to invoke his name, trying to force us to buy it, to guilt us into buying this insurance. Or B, God will take care of you. He'll make sure you have a job. But you gotta drive. You gotta get in the car. You gotta be heading in the direction. In other words, you gotta participate. Can't sit at home watching crappy news network or whatever it is these days, or Judge Judy or whatever. You have to participate. You have to go to work. You have to do those things. But if the government is going to mandate, I think that would mandate it for everybody. And I think everybody needs to pay regardless. See, that's the other thing, too. If someone is sitting at home gathering a paycheck, getting $300 or $200 or $400, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, a week, and getting food and all of those things, I think they ought to at least pay something into it for the rest of us. You know, when you buy insurance, the reason why car insurance works is it doesn't matter if you have a job or not. It doesn't matter if you can pay that premium or not. If you have a car, you have to pay it. So if you want health care, you have to pay it. I've always said people don't have a cash problem. They have a priority problem. They really do. When it comes down. And that's that whole entitled behavior. That's how they learn that. And we'll talk a little bit more of that, but right now we have to pay some bills. But when we get back from the break, we have so much more to talk about. We got the wiretap claims. We have North Korea. I got a bombshell to drop on you. You're going to hear about it later on today from different news organizations. But you'll hear it first here at Morning News Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. That's 800-814-5188.
Hey folks, did you know that 90% of all disease or discomfort is directly or indirectly related to an unclean colon? In fact, colon cancer is the third most common form of cancer, and the lifetime risk of developing colon cancer is about 1 out of 20 men and women. This is Scott Adams from The Scott Adams Show and owner of Red State Talk Radio. I wanted a colon cleansing mild detox that would give me more energy without caffeine, and I found it with Life Change Tea by visiting getthetea.com. This herbal tea, with its unique blend of ingredients, is formulated to detoxify and cleanse your body and is available in a super strength formula. A healthy colon is the secret to living a healthy life. That's why I have 1 cup of Life Change Tea every day to keep the doctor away. Visit getthetea.com or call 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. And tell them Scott from Red State Talk Radio sent you. Red State Talk Radio is now available as a voice command on your Amazon Echo and Echo Dot by simply saying, Alexa, play Red State Talk Radio.
Red State Talk Radio on TuneIn.
Concern to every single American. Now, we've been hearing all these stories about sanctuary cities that...
You can now find us on the Amazon Echo and Echo Dot, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, and we also have the phone apps in the App Store for your particular phone. And just in case we activated your Echo Dot, Alexa, stop.
Years after Obamacare passed, Washington is once again at war over health care. The war isn't simply one between Democrats and Republicans, but instead between different factions of the Republican majority in the Congress. We'll talk to the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, in just a minute. But first, take a look at what's been happening here in Washington.
This is what the American people have asked for. This is what those of this country have wanted. and we have been willing to listen, and now we will lead.
Right now, where it is, it's not what we told the voters we were going to do, and I don't think it's going to bring down the cost of insurance, which has got to be our goal.
This is the conservative alternative to Obamacare. This is how we're going to reform health care in America and give choice back to people, rescue the failing individual market. We're proud of this piece of legislation.
What's been introduced in the House in the last 24 hours is not the Obamacare replacement plan, not the Obamacare repeal plan we've been hoping for. This is instead a step in the wrong direction.
You are listening to Morning News Radio here on Red State Talk Radio. I am live. We are live. We're here. You can join us every morning, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, eventually we'll be on the web 24/7. Well, that was the big news last week. They were able to get the GOP healthcare bill out of committee. It's going to go to a vote on this Thursday. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, right before we went off to the break, I'm torn on this one. There's a part of me that says, look, the government, well, I'm not torn. The government should not be in the business of healthcare. Period. Period. You know? That is not the role of government. Now, if government gets into the business of healthcare, I think that they need to make it equitable. I think everybody needs to participate. And those that can't participate, maybe you should have paid attention in school. Now, of course, before you flame me and everything, I am not talking about those who legitimately cannot take care of themselves. I think we do have an obligation as Christians, as a people of God, to take care of those around us who cannot take care of themselves. I'm not talking about, because, I have, my feelings are hurt. I can't go to work. Or, I got black lung. I love that show. That reference. Those people. You have to watch the show Zoolander to understand what I'm talking about. But, those people. The people that sit at home and want. The parasitic people of our society. And we're to blame for it because we voted in politicians who encourage that behavior. See, politicians, government wants to grow. It wants to become larger. That's what government does. And so it's going to look at any way that it can grow. It's going to look upon getting you addicted to the handouts and to have you suckle from the government teat. That's what the government does. That's how it grows. That's how it's become what it has become. There you go. English. I hear Miss Tipton in the back of my head. That's how it's became what it has become. Is through this. And, healthcare, they've always said that once Sal Lewinsky, yes, I've read Sal's books, has always said that once you control a person's health, you control a person. And that's the ultimate goal of this. I mean, think about what's going on. I've said this years ago when Obamacare, ACA, Affordable Care Act, was passed. It's not the Affordable Care Act I'm concerned about. It is the dependency upon a flawed system, i.e. government. Government is a cold and non-caring entity. But yet you want compassion from it. Think about that. Our government is a corporation. The board of directors are the states. Its customers are you and I. Think about that. So when the government comes to you and takes money from you, you have to ask, like any other business, what am I getting in return? And am I getting value for that? See, we imagine a government, the Uncle Sam, the big hat, the red, white, and blue jacket, the tall, lanky guy with the long beard. That's what we believe that government is. But no, government is a cold, heartless corporation given its powers by the states. And we, the citizens, are its customers. And so if you take that, when you go shopping, right, when you walk into the store and you pull product from the shelf or services from the government, you want value. You want the best service at the cheapest value. Government doesn't give you that. So it's flawed. It is a failing corporation. Put that image in your head next time you hear that the government wants that. What value are you getting? Now, of course, they're going to say, well, we got to take care of these people because of the general welfare clause. That's how they do that's what the government uses the general welfare clause of the United States Constitution to justify. Well, we got to do this because, everybody will be better off for it. I don't know. Am I better off that you can buy raviolis versus rice? Am I better off that you can, get a cell phone versus pay your health care bill, have TV, have all those things? I don't think so. I can care less. I mean, I hate to be selfish, but I'm going to be selfish. I can care less. I don't care if you have a cell phone. I don't care if you have health care. Doesn't concern me. It's not my business. That's between you. But yet, it does concern me when the government puts a gun to my head and tells me that I have to pay money so you can have a cell phone or that you can have health care. I don't have health care. Is there a guarantee that I have health care because I pay for it? Because I get up and go to work every day. I work 2-3 jobs so that I can have health care. So why can't you? Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to sit at home and do radio all day long and not do anything else? Yeah, it would be awesome. That would be outstanding. But no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And neither can most Americans. But, of course, on Thursday, we're going to have a vote in the Congress. They're going to put it up the vote. Now, I will tell you this, one of the things that they did do over the weekend, which, talk about the differences of approaches here. Remember the whole, you can't see what's in the bill until you read the bill? Remember that? You had to pass the bill, Miss Nancy Pelosi. Got to pass the bill before you can see it. Well, at least this administration, this Congress, Republican Congress, actually released the bill so that you and I can read it. And there are things in there that a lot of people don't like. The GAO came back, and guys, for you guys don't realize the GAO is a nonpartisan. It's basically an accounting. They don't care. They don't care where the dollars are. And I love how the Democrats are all, they're all touting the GAO. Kind of like they're kind of like the Satanists touting the Bible. I'm serious, because I remember a time, see, Americans have short-term memory. I don't. I have long-term memory. And I remember a time under the Obama administration when they were doing the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, that the Democrats were complaining that the GAO was all wrong. They were wrong. They don't know what's going on. I remember that. I should get those sound clips up and just cue them to help remind my liberal friends out there. But they did. They were complaining about the GAO. Now they're they're professing their love for the GAO. That's politics. That just tells you how dirty they are. It really does. It really does. But so over the weekend there was several meetings there at the Mar-a-Lago, the second capital of the United States, Florida, which happens to be a great state, by the way. But so they had long-term meetings there at Mar-a-Lago. It looks like they are going to adjust, so Medicare, Medicaid is taken care of. One of the things, and I love this about this new bill, is that they are putting in a mandate that allows states, now, Medicaid, you got Medicare and Medicaid, you have a state and a federal program. Well, states are allowed to require people who can work, who receive government benefits, they can require them to go get a job. That's a novel concept, isn't it? So they're going to require people who participate, who are sitting at home watching Judge Judy and all of those shows and the Wendy show. I love Wendy. How you doing? It tells you how much I like her. If you guys have never watched Wendy Williams, you don't know what I'm talking about. But the reality of it is it's awesome that they are going to put that mandate in, that states can require people who are receiving government services to go get a job. Now, it's twofold. You can't get a job if there's no jobs available. Well, guess what? I'm going to make America great again, President Trump, is going to make sure you have the ability to get a job. It might not be the job you want, but you can get a job. Man, I can't tell you how many times growing up, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, there's a lot of jobs I had to do. I remember stacking tires, driving cars, working on an assembly line. Welding. There's a lot of jobs that I didn't want to do that I had to do to get to where I'm at today. That's just life. But see, parasites don't know that. They really don't. They don't know. They don't know the difference. I just image in my head this parasite. They attach to the first blood-giving creature that they can find. They do. They don't understand. There's other ones out there. They just don't get it. So yes, so those are some things. So that's going to go up. So hopefully on Thursday we'll get that through and we'll get it over to the Congress or to the Senate, which is going to have another battle. But if you're going to make no bones about it. If you're going to mandate health care. Make sure everybody pays for it that wants to participate. You don't have a choice. Or get rid of it. But make it so it's equitable, so that everybody has to participate. I don't think it's right that just because I go to work and because I force myself to get up at 5 a.m. and don't go to bed until 10 p.m., 11 p.m. every night because I'm working, that I have to pay or subsidize someone who's going to sit around and watch TV all day. Right. So that's going on. North Korea, we're going to change subject here. North Korea, Kim Jong-un. I don't even know how to say his name. I don't care. What a midget of a man. What a midget of a man. This is one time where we got to reach out to the Clintons and just say, hey, look, can we borrow your hit team? They've been so effective. I think they had 85 or 86 successful assassinations without being caught or without even raising the ire or the attention of mainstream media. But yeah, can we just put a call out to the hitman for the Clintons and tell them to go take care of that silly little man over there? But this is the problem with North Korea. Those people love him. They really do, except for the ones that are in prison camps. As I get a message here on my phone. As I drink a cup of coffee. By the way, the show is provided to you today by Tim Hortons Coffee. Best, cheapest coffee you will ever drink. If you're within 500 miles of a Tim Hortons, I highly recommend that you take the diversion. Get up there, get yourself a cup of nice black coffee and a Danish and tell them Jeff Norton sent you. But getting back to Kim Jong-un, or whatever, however you pronounce it, what a clown. What an ass hat, as they would say. I mean, we do. We just need to put a bullet. I mean, look, there's no reason to start a nuclear war over this clown. Just put a bullet in his head. I mean, seriously, you know the guy's watching the missile launches, right? So the next missile launch, I'm sure the government has the ability to know that he's there or not, right? If they don't, just get one of the Google satellites and confirm it. And just blow the whole complex up and be done with it. I know we're concerned about, China and what they're going to do. And, my thing is when we're done, just give it to China. Just say, here, China, our little gift to you. But yes, he is saber rattling. We have Tillerson is over there. And it's one of those things to where you can't win or lose. It's not a good thing either way. It's just not. There's going to be no winners or losers on this one. But what we can do is, like all good cancers, we can cut it out. We can. Yeah, we're probably going to have to take some chemo and some other things, but literally, we need to just cut it out. Rip it off. Get it over with. Get rid of them. And when we're done, like I said, give North Korea to the Chinese. Or better yet, give it to South Korea. But you want to talk about that's going to be a mess. You got literally millions of people who are just, how do I say, completely screwed up. You want to see what government can do to a civilization or to a people? Look at North Korea. That's the shining example. That's the shining example of what government has the potential of becoming. Look no further than North Korea. And I would say that America will never get that way. Why would America never get that way, would you ask? We have this thing called guns. We have the Second Amendment. That's why. That's why America will never get that way. But North Korea is saber rattling, and I think they're serious this time. I think it's something that we all need to be concerned about. It's not the normal bustfulness of a dictator, a Pol Pot dictator. This guy is developing the weapons, and we need to be concerned. Well, we have blown through the first hour. Like I said, we are live here at Red State Talk Radio. Love to hear from you. This is a show, believe it or not, I just talk about things, but more importantly, we want to get you to talk. The show is actually all about you, not about me. I'm just filling it in because having dead air is not good radio. But we're going to take a quick break at the top of the hour here. We'll be back in 5 minutes or so. Love to hear from you. And once again, the number is 402-858-1938. That's 402-858-1938. But you're listening to Morning News Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Norton, where every day is listener call-in day.
You know, sometimes when you compare prices on products, you think to yourself, what difference does it make? The rates are all about the same anyway. But sometimes the rates are very different. Let me give you an example where there's a huge difference in pricing between companies. Vehicle protection plans. Look, if your car is 4 years or older, having a vehicle protection plan is a no-brainer. The trick is not to overpay for it. Here are the facts. The average price of a vehicle protection plan is $2,800, while the price of a TOCO warranty vehicle protection plan for most vehicles is just $1,500. The average down payment on a vehicle protection plan is $299. With TOCO warranty, there's no down payment. The average monthly payment on a vehicle protection plan is more than $160 a month. With TOCO, the average monthly payment is just $49. To get a highly rated vehicle protection plan at a great low rate, call TOCO Warranty at 1-800-987-1519. That's 1-800-987-1519. Terms and conditions apply.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote. Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-790-4294. 800-790-4294. 800-790-4294. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. Attention. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement between 2011 and 2016 and suffered serious complications, including dislocation and loosening, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Evidence indicates that these devices can dislocate and loosen, causing severe pain, and may require additional revision surgery. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement and suffered a dislocation and loosening requiring a revision, call 800-660-7530. If you or a loved one had a total or reverse shoulder replacement between 2011 and 2016 and suffered serious complications, including dislocation and loosening, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Time is limited to file a claim. Act now. For more information and a free consultation, call 800-660-7530. That's 800-660-7530. Again, that's 800-660-7530. Call now.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Are you struggling with addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help, and your insurance may offer coverage.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-766-0878. 800-766-0878.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-766-0878. 800-766-0878.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Morning News Radio. The only radio show where you, the caller, are the guest. You feel free to give us a call at 402-858-1938. That's 402-858-1938. I am your host. You can find me here every morning from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. on Red State Talk Radio. Red State Talk Radio, wow, what a great network, I have to say. That's a really, pretty. I was listening to the shows this weekend and stuff. Man, it's incredible. It's the only Red State. I'm gonna earn some brownie points here with the owner, Scott. 36 hours of live programming. That is right. We're the ones that kick it off for the day. Here, Morning News Radio. Like I said, our little tag, I think I got our tag where you are the guest. That's our tag, Morning News Radio, where you are the guest. If you'd like to join in the conversation, feel free to give us a call, 402-858-1938. That's 402-858-1938. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. But 36 hours of live broadcast every day. Now, you got to ask. I had the same thing. When Scott told me that, I was like, wait a minute, there's only 24 hours. Oh, there's 2 channels at Red State Talk Radio. And both channels have over 36 hours of live broadcast. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm glad to be part of the Red State Talk Radio family of shows. Now, we are going to have our feed up and running later on this week. I got word back that our iPhone and Android apps are going to be available. We'll actually do a 3-hour show and video of the show. You can see we're starting to add a little bit more format. Last week was just to get things worked out. They'll iron it out. The creases, to get them nice and sharp. And man, did we have a lot of wrinkles yesterday. I do apologize, or last week. I apologize for that, but hey, that's what it's all about, right? But I think we got it worked out. But once again, we are live every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Red State Talk Radio. And, of course, the after show, which is from 8 till 9. And we'll tell you about YouTube and Facebook and all that when we get there. But right before the break, we're talking about wiretap claims. I kind of dropped a little hint there. You might have heard rumblings about it. I did some confirmation. I did some calling around to see. And for those that don't know, I have contacts. I have I hate news articles that say sources say, inside sources. Well, you know what? Unless you're really, really willing to put your name on it, I don't believe you. Because I can just make anything up, right? And say, well, my sources say. My sources tell me this. Put your name on it. Put your source's name on it. And if your sources are afraid to put their name on it, then maybe you need to question their ability. Because, that's part of fake news. That's the number one. When I hear, well, inside sources that are close to the government but do not have the authority to speak on behalf of I don't believe you. And I know a lot of news is made that way. I think a lot of stuff gets thrown up against the editorial wall, and they see what sticks. It's kind of like a really good interrogator. A good interrogator is someone they have a clue. There's a reason why you're sitting in the interrogation room, people. You've already went past go. You're at the next level. And so they're going to try to trip you up. This is one thing a lot of people, when you take lie detector tests, and I've had to take tests in various capacities as a government contractor for different clearances. I don't have those clearances anymore. I've given them up. Actually, they've probably been revoked. No, they haven't been revoked. I haven't gotten a letter yet. I just don't use them. I don't work in that capacity anymore. But I will tell you, when you take lie detector tests, part of the exam, the test is not, the test. It's the whole experience. They look at what you say before, what you say after. You're hooked to the machine. There's a lot of other things as part of the test. The same with interrogation. There's a reason why they put the video camera on you 24/7 as they, shine the light in your face. Yeah. So, this whole thing about, well, inside sources, I just don't believe it. When I hear that, I'm going, okay, I'm sorry. I can't believe it, because to me, I think you're just throwing things up against the editorial wall, and you're going to see what you get a reaction. And when you get a reaction from whoever, it will, then they continue on, right? They push further. They push harder. And unfortunately, we do have a President Trump, who does have his emotions out on his sleeve. They're out there in Twitter world, right? So they get a rise out of him, and then he reacts. That's one thing I wish that this president, would do better, is just not react. I've been in a situation, I don't know if you guys have ever been in, but I've been in a situation where a person, they wanted a reaction out of you, one way or the other. And the best way to drive them nuts is don't give them one. Don't give them a reaction. Just go, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That'll drive them nuts. That's what this president needs to do to this mainstream media. Just, whatever. I'm still doing, I'm still president, and I'm still going to do what I said I was going to do. And just move on. He doesn't have to say that, just do it. Right? But I will tell you this report, Operation Dragnet. So let me give you guys a little bit of back history on this. Operation Dragnet is a database that is the civilian term for it. The actual term for the database is classified, and there's a reason why I probably still have my security clearance. But I will tell you, so we're going to call it the civilian term, or Operation Dragnet. Now, the way that this database was, this was an interdepartmental shared database. It was available by not only federal agencies, but also local law enforcement agencies. So think of about the National Crime Database. So when you get arrested or when you get pulled over by the police for whatever, for traffic violation or whatever, what they do is they'll call in and they'll first see if you have any warrants, obviously local. And then the next thing is, because we are a community in which people travel, they will go to the national database. And they type in your name and your information, and it sees if you have warrants in other states. And what it is, these states will actually put your information into the database. And that is a national database that is out there. Well, there's another one now. And what it is basically it's a database. And you always wondered how these news agencies knew, when we talk about San Bernardino and some of these cases, well, these people were known. They were on the radar by the FBI. They were under investigation. They were all that. You wondered how the news agency knew that within 2 hours or an hour of it. What it is that there is a database that's made available to the sheriffs and chiefs of police and people that have the right credentials. They just don't give it to everybody. You have to actually go through you have to have a security clearance, but most sheriffs get that clearance done. They get the background check through the FBI. And so this is a database in which they can see what if you're under investigation. You're currently under investigation by a federal agency. If you're being surveilled, if you're being, under, basically you've got the eye of Cyrus on you. That's a token reference there. So when the government is investigating you, you go into this database. You haven't been committed of a crime, or you haven't been, but you're obviously being investigated for something. Well, so apparently President Trump, his family, his associates, everybody, it's been released over the weekend that since 2004, which is the Bush administration, so let's be fair, all the way through 2010, and that's where the individual, actually it was Sheriff Arpaio, he had access. So he released this information. He had access to this database, and he no longer had access after 2010. It was revoked. His access was revoked. So the only information they do know is from 2004 to 2010, where President Trump, his family, at that time Citizen Trump, and his family were under FBI investigation. Kind of leads a little bit, and that's irrefutable. That database exists, and that database is, law enforcement has confirmed that the Trumps' names and their family members and their associates are in the database. And inside that database, there are cell phone numbers, private numbers, things that are normally not available. So that would tell you that, yes, they were under active surveillance. So that came out over the weekend. We'll see if that gets legs and moves on. President Trump, please don't tweet about it. Just look, one of the things too is you got to understand the game that the government. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and this is just my observation, and this is based upon years of experience of working with the government. There is substantial evidence that President Trump and his individuals within his administration, and also family members, were under surveillance by the United States government. And let me tell you why. It goes back to that whole statement that I made earlier about interrogation, right? You're being interrogated from everything you do. When you do a lie detector test, the test is not just them hooking you up and asking you questions. It's what you do before, what you do after, what you do during, what you do, that's the test, people. Most people that fail lie detector tests usually fail after the test. They make a statement or they do something stupid. So the thing is this. President Trump, I will have to say, based upon how the media is putting so much of this disinformation out there and saying that there's no existence, there's no claim to it. Bear with me here. I'll get I'll make your point, counselor. All right. So there's so much of that disinformation. What they are is they're whittling the American people down. They're making you numb to the whole surveillance thing. And I've seen this time and time again, especially in government, especially in clandestine organizations and stuff. When they need to do a data dump on you or an information dump, what they do is that they will wear you down to the point to where you don't even want to hear about it anymore. And then when you say, I don't want to hear about it anymore, then they're going to release the actual information, the real information. And the fact that the media keeps on like a drum beating this in, there's no substantial information, there's no claim, there's no. Well, I know and you know, just because of this Operation Dragnet, the fact that Snowden or WikiLeaks just released the government, everybody in America is under surveillance. So for the government to come out and say, well, he wasn't under surveillance, he wasn't under wiretap, he wasn't under this or he wasn't under that, is bunk. Because everybody, remember a few years ago when the CIA was surveilling our members of Congress? How soon we forget. Like I said, I don't forget these things, people. So I'll help you. I'll remind you. Yeah. There was outrage. The United States Congress under the Obama administration was being surveilled and being monitored. Members of Congress were being monitored by the CIA. And when that came to light, what it was, the CIA's budget was in question. And so the CIA wanted to know what the politicians thought about their budget or whatever. And so what they did is that they monitored, they phone tapped them and everything. So in all the realm of possibility, it's very possible and it's very plausible. And, they did it to Congress. So what makes you think they didn't do it to other important people, especially enemies of the state, as Trump is? So, like I said, I now, because of the steady drumbeat that is going on revolving this whole surveillance of the Trump family and their associates and stuff, that steady, whittling down, there's no news here, nothing to see here, right? It actually is starting to sound like, and based upon the totality of the information that's at hand, Operation Dragnet and some of the other things, I'm starting to think that maybe that story does have legs. But see, most people don't think that way. You guys just get tired of hearing about it. I know, I'm tired of it. I hear family members say, well, I'm just tired of it. Well, that's that. They're whittling you down. So when the real information, when the truth does come out, you don't care. You can care less because you are so tired of hearing about it. And that's how the government works. That's how the propaganda arm of the United States government works. They have this stuff figured out, people. They have hired some of the best anthropologists, sociologists, psychiatrists. They get it down to, the what color suit and tie they're going to wear. I mean, that's the level that they're dealing with. They target their news releases and they drip them in certain ways and they do things in certain ways. But I'm telling you, this constant, nothing to see here, nothing to see here, nothing to see here, and then oh yeah, there was something to see here, but don't you guys are tired of hearing about it. But this week, the reason why I bring that up is because this week, actually today, you have FBI Director Comey, who's going to be on. They're doing a public hearing, making it public, and they're going to ask him. First, they're going to ask him about the collusion of the Trump administration, right? They got to give that nugget to the liberals, because in the same breath they're going to ask if Trump was under any active investigation. Well, no, he wasn't under any active. Look, the government is a little bit more efficient. They learned their lesson under the CIA when they did the CIA of Congress. They learned that. There's a reason why government officials, why Senator Clinton and Secretary of State Clinton had a private email server to skirt the Freedom of Information Act requests. They learn as they go, and they learn that they don't do a FISA request because that's documented. So what they do, and let me kind of shed some light on with this, like this database, this federal database, the Dragnet database, our intel, our Signet intel information is provided to foreign agencies, our friends, right? They're provided to our friends. Now, did the Obama make a request to MI6 or whatever, a direct request? Probably not. He's not that stupid. It was probably a back channel conversation that went on and everything. So, caller from Ohio, welcome to the show.
It's Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, welcome. Haven't heard from you in a while. As we sit here, and we're talking about this whole wiretap and government surveillance here, but look, our administration is not stupid. Our government, that's one thing that they've learned. So they're not going to do a formal request to MI6. They're not going to do that. So it's on the record, because why would they do that? They could have just done that with the NSA or the CIA and stuff. But, the whole idea is they wanted a back channel surveillance of President Trump and his associates. And so what they did is I know how this works, people. It's not that hard, to make a phone call or to get on a plane. I bet you it was probably a plane conversation. Or who knows, this request might have gone through some back channel email server that we don't know about. And there's a lot of trade craft that goes on and how they do this stuff. But I don't think it's without the realm of possibility that the administration or the former administration or a active participant or a spook within that administration reached out to a source within another foreign government, Signet source, within another foreign government that had access to this database, said, look, we need to have this information. And they pulled it. And they pulled that information. That is not, it's a database. So like Sheriff Alpeo did, he had the information. And I believe that actually did happen. Why wouldn't it? You have a person who's going to unravel your legacy. Why wouldn't you reach out to a friend and say, hey, look, what do you got? I would do it. I'd make that phone call. I'd do it. Hey, when I was asked to be on Red State Talk Radio, I called a few friends of mine who are on Red State Talk Radio and asked them what they thought about it. It's human nature to do that type of background check and stuff. So I actually believe that they're probably, and the fact that there's this constant drumbeat of nothing to see here tells me that there is actually something to see here. So we'll see. I could be wrong and everything. But, hey, Jeff, welcome to the show. Long time.
How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, it's going, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm sorry about all that. Just they had the flu in the family for a little bit and had everybody off base. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Life happens.
Just trying to get everybody back to normal.
Yeah, life happens. Well, it's all right. It's all right. So, but so that's going.
Yeah,
on.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. I think that when you're dealing with tradecraft and you're dealing with the stuff that's going on with these guys, I find it very hard to believe that it didn't happen.
I would do it.
So yeah,
I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got the clearance that these guys got. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, like I said, I told you when I was asked to be on Red State Talk Radio, it's a simple process. I mean, I checked with other people that are on Red State Talk and other people and said, hey, what do you think? I mean, I'm not going to, that's human nature. So like I said, it's not anything out of the realm of possibility, especially when you got an individual who's threatening your legacy, as Donald Trump is, and then number two, who's threatening, the new world order that you participate in. and not only your legacy, but he's also threatening your boss, and your masters. And a lot of people, oh no, he just said Matt. Look, I don't mean Matt. I just leave it at that, so I don't get in trouble.
Well,
but
I'm going to tell you what I look at it. I look at it just like this: if you had Google at your disposal to use, and you know that you could use it,
wouldn't you use it?
Would you sit there with a phone book?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, like if you've got the idea and you know that it's there, why would you not use the information in front of you?
That's right.
Right. I mean, it's ridiculous not to think about it, especially once you petition the FISA courts and try to do all this ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I actually believe that, that's how they did it. That's how they backdoored it. But, and it's plausible to me. And I'm not basing that on anything that Ned Paulo or whatever, judge on the Fox channel said. I'm basing it upon my own experience working within the government and understanding those guys are some sneaky MFers. I can tell you, I mean, we have access, my other capacity. I never participated because I am a libertarian. I don't believe in that. If it was up to me, I would have built a kill switch to wipe out all the databases and everything because I don't believe in that stuff. And I actually left a job, a very high paying, great job with clearance working for the government because I uncovered the fact that they were retaining medical information on individuals. A long story, but Project Guardian, which is a project that I worked on and helped develop the software for. And when I found out that they were actually storing people's medical records, when they were just supposed to be looking at people's medical records, looking for certain conditions, we'll leave it at that, or certain indicators that the people were playing around with nasty stuff. But the fact that they were keeping the medical records and keeping that information, I had a problem with it, and I left.
The biggest problem that you've got is ethics. There is no ethics in this business. I mean, people just think that
data,
ethics it's just a word.
Yeah,
it's a piece of paper.
No, they
it
don't.
Doesn't mean anything to these people.
They don't have ethics. I mean,
there's
don't.
No ethics.
Yeah, data is power. Data is control.
Exactly.
And look, and I'm going to explain this to people. If you don't want to be controlled, we live in a data world. There is no way around it. Every website you go to, every phone call you make, everything you do, there is a guy or a gal sitting in a room looking at it. And it's all there. Now the question is if you're in their eye, they're looking at you more. They have data, they have screens that are written that just take your info out of the billions of bytes of data that transact within seconds. If you're within their sphere, if you have their attention, your information rises to the top. And there's a screen sitting out there. I promise you, there's probably a screen out there with my name on it, and. I'll be the first one to tell you that every website, every phone call, every contact, every email, everything that I do that I don't protect is exposed to them, and I'm sure it's out there. I mean, you don't get into this business not knowing that.
People are screaming bloody murder right now. They're saying stuff and like Walmart's tracking your information, and now they have tags in your underwear and your clothes and everything else. And people just forget they forget this.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're doing that. Okay, it didn't just happen. Nobody just went, "Oh, today I'm going to go ahead and put tracking devices in your underwear." Understand? They know that when you walk through certain places, it will set off a certain thing and tell them that you're in the store. Not particularly you as a person, a shopper, not particularly you in particular. But so.
Yeah, I don't believe. They're not. I don't think Walmart's tagging my clothes. But you're right. I mean, they have cell phones. I mean,
no, actually, they are.
What?
Walmart has tags and clothes now. It's called registered RFID tags.
They have the RFID for security reasons and different things of that nature to track their inventory. that. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they've got new stuff. They've got new stuff out now that goes through with it, like so it keys in with your key software for your cell phone. It keys in with your credit card, and it keys in with. So when you buy a certain like Haynes has already announced that it's doing it. And so is a couple other companies that there's going to be key tags in there. So like when you walk through Walmart, they'll know that you're in the store. It'll be registered through a serial number that goes into the database for your credit card. Through RFID and through a few other things.
Does it tell them that you need to change your underwear or anything like that?
Yeah. But I mean, there's some crazy stuff out there going on. These marketing companies are making billions.
Well, it's all about data.
Of the technology, and that's the whole.
It's
key.
a trillion dollar a year industry. I mean, the data is king now. Data is. I mean, look at Snapchat, right? Well, Snapchat's going under, but look at Facebook and stuff. I've yet to get a bill from Facebook, YouTube, or any of those companies to use their service. And the reason
they're
being,
still worth trillions on them, billions on the market.
But yet they're making trillions. And the reason being because data. They're collecting data. Data is everything. And so,
right.
But this whole, look, I know some of the systems and stuff, and they're cell phone driven. They are all cell phones. You have you walk around with a microprocessor that has a GPS system in it that can read all of that information, and I get it, and it can send it back to the home base, and so I just have this vision of Walmart. I'm a morbid kind of guy. One of the things now you talk about Jeff's watching the people of Walmart videos again. I love those videos. I'm sorry. Sandy's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm watching. I love those videos. I love the videos where people like do stupid stuff, like failed videos. And that's what I do during the day. So that's what they're getting. So I'm entertaining. So I'm doing that for that.
Do you like the people from Walmart?
I love those
people from Walmart
I
videos?
love those videos, man. And so, what I'm doing is I'm giving that analyst something to chuckle at when they're in that dark room, because that's a boring life. Think about it. It really is. It sucks. That life sucks. Sitting in a room watching what people are watching and doing all day long and stuff. So I mix it up for them. I'll take requests. They can send me a request of a video that they want to watch. I'll be glad to watch it for them, and so that way they can watch it too. I believe in sharing the wealth with people. But that's just it's just insane. And that steady rebroke of there's nothing to see here. The more I hear that, the more I go there's a lot to see here. And so we got FBI today. That's going to happen today. We're going to see if this story with Operation Dragnet, if that actually gets any legs or anything. I just hope President Trump doesn't tweet about it. Just don't feed into it. Just let it go. Let us fight that battle for you. So, that's coming out. Of course, you got the Dems and the Republicans, calling for President Trump to either apologize for what he said to Obama, or either put up or shut up.
He's managed to be vindicated on everything that he's done so far. Every time he calls out a red herring, it pops up to be a red herring.
I think actually, like I said, I think eventually eventually think he will. The problem is that it's that whole Oxford comma argument that people make. Words have meanings. And the way that you position a comma, there's a great, for those that don't know, in the legal cases and stuff, there was a great labor case worth millions, if not billions, of dollars in back pay and stuff, and it all came down to the placement of a comma in a legal contract, and it's called the Oxford comma. And so, in the legal sense, words have meanings, and the problem with President Trump is that he doesn't understand, in his world prior to being president, you got to remember, he is the chief executive of a corporation called the United States of America. And I know that, he was a chief executive of the Trump Industries and stuff, but it's different. You have the legality of it, and people do dissect. I think he's learning that, because I'm not seeing that many more tweets come out from him as they were before. But people dissect every word that he says. I mean, the last tweet was talking about how, Germany owes us money owes NATO money. And that was the last tweet. Well, he said vast sums. Vast sums. So vast sums means something, especially to those that dissect the human language. And, of course, now you've got the German government coming back and say, well, no, we don't owe vast sums. We owe a little bit, but not vast sums. And so now the press is all over that, saying that he misconstrued or he not misstated, but he once again, this is another one of his screw-ups. And he doesn't realize, to him, vast sums, $1 million, even though he's a multi-millionaire, that's a lot of money. And, so it's a lot of money to most of us. But of course, they're gonna.
Well, I will tell you, a lot of people. There's a back and forth thing about, should he be tweeting? Should he not be? I think it's great that he's doing it because it gets a lot of information.
I think it's awesome.
The problem that you got is you just can't jump the gun.
Well, the problem is he's got to understand words mean something. So there's ways that you can you can say things that can construe or that can say your message, but not back yourself into a corner, right? And that's the issue that I have with President Trump. I like the fact that he engages. I like the fact, and David Axelrod said that this is normal. You're seeing what every president, and even Jeff Gorgon has said, you're seeing what every president has gone through or goes through or what every president has thought. What is unique about Trump is that he publicizes it. He puts it out there, and he says it publicly through Twitter or whatever, and that's where he gets in trouble. And the other thing is like I said, the whole Oxford comma argument, legal argument. Words have meanings, and words have meaning at different levels of your profession, and no matter where you're at. So he's got to watch what he says, because they're going to tear him apart, and it's going to feed into. Now, I'm going to say this: my advice to the president of the United States is that they're going to use this. They're going to use this as part of that drumbeat, that constant drumbeat that the news cycle is doing. And so when you do, or when the evidence does come out, people are so tired of it that they're not going to care. They're really not going to care. Now, the mainstream people, look, you have 50% of the American people. If President Trump was being monitored, they would say that's okay because he's guilty of it anyways, right? So you got that 50. So those are the ones that you just wash your hands with and go, I'm not going to deal with it. Then you have the other 50% that believe it is or whatever. So does it really, at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, does it really matter? I mean, what's the change? I mean, what are they going to do about it? Because you got 50% that no matter what he says, they're not going to believe him. And they got 50% no matter what he says, they're going to believe him. And so, okay, it's a Chinese fire drill at this point. It's a Chinese fire drill. And
until this calms down, this will continue to be a
and the
bed of stupidity.
And the casualty to all of this is the truth. That's the casualty to this whole exercise that we're going through. Is the casualty is going to be the truth. And at the end of the day, though, what do they do with the truth? They're not going to do anything with it. They're going to point fingers and they're going to say, Obama, you're guilty of wiretapping your opponent, and the other side's going to say, well, your opponent was needed to be wiretapped. At the end of the day, it's a wash. There's nothing going to be done with it. No one's going to get prosecuted. Right. No one's going to see. So it's a mute argument, and we just need to move on. The government surveillance. Look, people, I'm just going to say this: the government monitors everything you do, everything you do, everything you purchase, every website you go to, every phone call you make, every email you put out there. They monitor everything. Every post on your Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all those things. They monitor it all. We do have data systems that do suck that information in, and they do have it. Okay, end of story. Move on. Next. Next. All right. So here you go. So Did you hear about that? This knucklehead. This is a thing that does concern me, though. Obviously, you got North Korea and stuff. You got China, but this whole thing. The guy that was arrested over another one apparently told police. He told that there's a bomb in the trunk in his car.
Yeah, I was going to just ask you about this. What you thought about this?
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's real. I watched the video of them doing it, and then of course he said this is a test, right? I was waiting for him to say Allah Akbar or something like that, but he said this is a test. But
it's pretty. It's pretty
real.
disturbing that the the stuff that's going on. Our Secret Service has lost their mind. They're not even beginning to do the job.
Well, look. I mean, how do you say this? I talked years. God, I was a young man, a very young man when I talked to a Secret Service agent. Had an opportunity to talk to. Actually, I had it was a very good conversation with him. And the thing is that the Secret Service will even admit that when you have a motivated person, someone who really wants to do someone harm, there's nothing they can do. If they're willing to pay the ultimate price themselves, there's nothing that the Secret Service can do. I mean, they can make all the precautions they want to and stuff like that, but someone who's willing to die for their cause or whatever, the Secret Service has even admitted that they can't, it's almost near impossible to do that. So, going back, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that this is, but there's crazy people out there. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. There's sociopaths, psychopaths out there. I mean, if you look at, I love to bring this up, but when Cook, traveled, and this is the explorer Cook. I'll take you guys back to America or to world history. When Cook traveled, one of the things I love reading is his notes that he made as he went to into these indigenous cultures, and he stayed on these islands and stuff. And I love reading his notes, his field guides, and he talked about that. He even observed that there were sociopaths or people within the society of these different native cultures where they were just nuts, just batshit crazy. so you just have that. That's just the way, that's the, so you got crazy people.
But the problem is, dude, we have infrared detection, we have processing equipment, we have dogs, we have everything else. There should be no one getting anywhere near the White House if you don't want it in there. Well, I mean, what do they need to do? Install ADT?
Yes, good thing. But there's the east and west side of the White House and stuff, and it's literally the White House, the gate right there. You're only, when you think of the White House, most people think of the north and south lawn, right? They think of the big long field. Well, if you go to the administration side of the White House, because I've been there, and so it's right there on Penn. I mean, it's literally right up against the street. So for someone to say, and I don't know where the guy was actually arrested, but for them to say that he was, there at that's not hard, especially on the administrative sides of the White House. You're very close to the street, at the street level, and so. That's the concern.
But I mean, don't you think at this point in the game we have to start reevaluating that kind of bad moves for the American people?
What do you mean reevaluate? It's been working for.
Well, I mean, for the president is the president. I mean, if you went to North Korea and you started messing around the palace, you're gonna get shot instantly. Well, where's the problem of not being able to keep anybody past the fence?
Well, the president was nowhere in danger. I mean, the news hypes it up because they got to sell more widgets, right? But he was the White House is a fortress. I mean, I'd be more concerned if it was down here at Mar-a-Lago or something like that. Then yeah, that's concerning,
right?
But the White House itself is a fortress. I mean, it you're not going to get. Look, yeah, they have detection devices and stuff like that will detect. Plastiques or high explosives or ammonia nitrates and stuff like that. They do have those sensors. You're not going to get anything like that anywhere near the White House. An idiot with a gun.
I find it interesting that you can be on one of the most secure pieces of property in the world.
Well, he wasn't, and
yet you can still have time.
Well, he wasn't on the property though. He was on a public street outside the property. He never got into the. Now, the guy that jumped the fence, that's a different story. He was on the property for 18 minutes. But yeah, I'm a little disturbed about that. Yeah.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the guy with a bomb in his car that happened this weekend.
Well, no, I'm just talking about in general. I mean, just in general. This is like the fifth drop. I mean, this isn't the first guy that's done it, the second guy that's done it, the third guy. It's like, look, wait a minute now.
Wait.
This is multiple people.
We've had airplanes fly into the White House. A lot of people don't realize this. Like I said, I have a long history, or I got a long memory and stuff. We look that one up. Cessna flies in the White House. A lot of people don't even know that happens. It happens. It happens quite often, believe it or not. It happens. There's a lot of crazy people out there. And it happens.
Well, there was that weird helicopter device that the guy did just what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago.
There was a guy that flew a Cessna into the White House.
When was this?
Yeah, go look it up and Google. Yes. A guy took his Cessna airplane and flew it right into the White House. A lot of people don't remember that, but it happened. It happens. There are crazy people out there. There are idiots out there. So yeah, Google it. Put it in the Googler and stuff. So
Googler.
Put it in the Googler. Let that percolate for a little while. So hey, here, change the news. You know, obviously we have our in Afghan. We have U.S. soldiers who are, I don't mean to laugh. This is not, I don't want to make light of this, but apparently we had another one of these inside attacks. So American troops were wounded Sunday when an Afghan soldier decided to open fire on American soldiers. It's called an insider attack.
Oh, man, I didn't hear this one.
Yeah. Yep, that happened. Did you watch the video? One of my favorite videos, I love to do it, where the Army sergeant is just berating the Afghan police. You not hear that video on YouTube?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Nope, I did not see that.
I'm pulling it up. Let's see if we can play it here. This is awesome. I love this video. I truly do. This is one of the best videos I've ever seen in my life. Heard. Watch. You got a bunch of Afghani police, Afghan militaries, and you got a United States soldier, a sergeant. Listen to this.
He's just talk a little bit about how you are conducting yourselves as Iraqi police. Raise your hand if you're in the Mahdi militia. Let's see it. Who's in the militia? Who has militia ties? Which one of you are more loyal to the militia than to your own country? None of you. Bullshit. Some of you in this formation are fucking lying right now.
Oh, excuse me. Apologize for the language.
You know why I'm pissed off? I come down here with my soldiers to try to train you, and you're trying to fucking kill Americans. You're trying to kill your fellow fucking Iraqis because you got no fucking backbone.
All right, so that's enough of that. We are in the so I'm going to get in trouble for that. But yeah, you got a U.S. Army sergeant gives Iraqi police a telling off. It's an awesome video. He actually, I mean, I love it. I love the fact that he actually just called them out on it and said, "Look, get your heads out of your butt." You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, if are you here to do something right, fix the problem, or are you here to just create more?
You got to watch it. It's a great video. But of course, now we have.
I'm all over that one.
Yeah, we have U.S. soldiers who were just attacked, and Godspeed to their health and recovery. I don't think there was any deaths, but there were soldiers that were attacked, and I think they took care of business. That's probably why we're not hearing about it, and everything is that they took care of business. Good old Americans. And wow, we're already coming up at the top. So I want to make sure we get through these. So we got that, and then of course Jimmy Burleson, wise guy, he died, author. Sad. We lost a good one there. Jimmy Burleson scored one of the biggest remembered interviews with President John F. Kennedy, gravedigger, and once drove straight into a riot where he was beaten to his underwear. How do you get beaten to your underwear? So, but yeah, he wrote for the.
They just beat you until there's nothing left on you.
Yeah, no, there's nothing left. Yeah, he wrote for the New Yorker, but he also chronicled Wise Guys, the family, and everything, but he died 88. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner. Another great journalist. That was when journalism was journalism, where they actually did hard-hitting news and not sensationalism or entertainment. That's when they actually, I love those types. Greenwald, I love his stuff. I love Greenwald's work because he does hard-hitting journalism and everything. So, and then of course for those out there, put America first. G20 has dropped the protectionism clause from their negotiations. Which is awesome. Yeah, that's a win. That's Trump. Trump won. Free trade zero. So that's awesome that he did it.
Yeah, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, and of course, then over the weekend they show a picture of Merkel and the Japanese Prime Minister having a good laugh at Trump's expense. I just want to remind those people out there. Last time Germany and Japan got together, it didn't bode too well for the war.
Mm-mm.
But now they're
no.
So they're that came out of the G20 meeting. That was good. And then of course, talk about Merkel. Merkel was at the White House on Friday, and Trump is a guy. I've always said I'd like to have a beer with President Obama. I'm serious, and I'm not being derogatory about that. I think that sitting out, with these guys would be kind of cool to do that. And I'd have a beer with, but I would love to have a beer with President Trump because the guy is, for everything that's going on, for him to come back and say this.
As wiretapping, I guess, by this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps.
He actually said that with Merkel. That's just a guy that you just want to hang out with. Because that's my kind of sense of humor, just completely stupid sense of humor. But that.
Oh yeah.
But it was. It was awesome that he. He did that to cut the air. Now a lot of people thought it was offensive and everything to Merkel, and Merkel looked like deer in the headlight. But let's face it. Trump was not too kind to Merkel on the road. When he was running. And a lot of the issues that are going on in the EU are because of Merkel. She allowed the migrants to come in and everything and take over her country, and she's getting a lot of backlash. I don't think she's going to make it. Actually, I don't think she's going to make the next.
Oh, yeah, the feedback's terrible on it right now.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to make it on the next one and the election. And so, her, Germany it just is Germany, France. Every day you see videos of France of the migrants taking over that, and it's just incredible. Yeah.
Did you see Italy's pushing back now? They're
back.
People are coming out and standing up. They're like, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
you got to get these people out of here.
They're all pushing back, and then you got Erdogan, from Turkey, who just said that he's going to flood Europe with the Muslim horde. Now, a lot of people look, like I said, I read a lot. And I read a lot of documents that are floating across my desk. And there was one document that came across my desk years ago, talking about the infiltration and the taking over of the Western societies by the Muslims, and what they're doing in these countries is exactly what they said they were going to write about, or what they wrote about in their manual, in their instruction book. And it's just it's incredible. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow, for tomorrow's show, I'll read that. I'll read part of that book for you guys, and it's basically the how to.
I sent you over a video too. Did you see the video from 1991 that they were talking about? It's their full layout plan.
Was it? Is that? Yeah, I think I probably did see it. If you sent it to me, I watch them, Jeff. I do.
I know you do. I love sending you stuff.
So, but hey, down in Brazil. This is the thing, too. You want to talk about the hypocrisy of the American government or the American politicians? Look, yes. All right, so here you go. They have an active investigation about Russia supposedly influencing the American election, right? Trying to influence the American election. And they want to crucify Russia. They put sanctions on them. They want to, you got McCain who wants to go to war with them over it, right?
Right.
And so, so where does Donna Brazile fit in all this? Didn't she try to influence the election by giving then candidate Clinton all of the CNN questions? Didn't she try to manipulate? Wasn't there a conspiracy there?
Total press manipulation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, wasn't there one? Well, so where's the sanctions against her? and everything.
And calling out of where's the tax records?
Yeah, well, she finally admitted that she did give. We have that video here from, I believe, Tucker.
Well, we begin with some breaking news. A stunning confession from former DNC chair Donna Brazile. Donna is finally admitting to what we all knew all along, that she leaked CNN town hall questions to Hillary Clinton during the campaign while she, Donna Brazile, was a contributor to the network. Brazile confessed in an essay published in Time magazine saying, quote, among the many things I did in my role as a Democratic operative and DNC vice chair prior to assuming the interim DNC chair position was to share potential town hall topics with the Clinton campaign.
Really?
My job was to make all our Democratic candidates look good, and I worked closely with both campaigns to make that happen. But sending those emails was a mistake I will forever.
Isn't that collusion? Isn't that manipulation?
It's collusion.
Isn't it collusion manipulation?
And right now with what they're calling for, is calling all the fake news and saying that it's prosecutable. I mean, you got Hillary coming out saying stuff like, oh, well, the fake news changed the votes of the election and did all this, and this is where we have to stop.
So you basically cheating on a debate, that's not collusion. That's not criminal. It's not criminal. I mean, no one gets prosecuted for being a cheater. I mean, my whole thing is that Donna Brazile, and here you got supposed, which has never been verified, and I think today with the FBI with Comey, he's going to come back and say there's nothing to see here with the Russians, and you got all of the sanctions where we want to go to war with Russia over this, right? We want to. There are certain members of Congress that want to go to war with Russia over this, and you got Donna Brazile who admitted. And so, what does she get? She doesn't. She gets a slap on the wrist, and she gets a article in a rag, and she'll probably get some job somewhere.
You know what the problem with that is, Jeff? The biggest problem you have with this is what else was she doing the entire time that she's been floating against the Republican Party?
And who else is doing it?
Instead of giving fair and balanced news, you've been giving all this garbage. What else have you been doing? See, it's not just the one ticker; it's what she's done all along.
Oh, she said she's an operative. She said in her thing that she was an operative for the Democratic Party.
Right.
So how many other operatives do they have that have infiltrated our news? I mean, that's why I'm saying fake news. I mean, and everybody's like, it's like, guys, you got to understand they're all part of the
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, they're all part of the problem and stuff. And then you got
Anderson. It runs in the family.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just. I don't know. It's just, I whatever. I just leave it at that. But before we run out of time,
but no, you hit a great point. You hit a great point.
Go ahead. What was my point?
No, go ahead. Oh no, you hit a great point with her being an operative with all the stuff going on.
No, she said it. I didn't hit the great point. She said it. She said she was an operative. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, I'm not putting words in her mouth. She's putting words in her mouth. So, hey, we're running up at the top of the hour at the end of the show and everything. Stay tuned. Scott's show is going to be next here on Red State Talk Radio. Before I leave you, though, I want to share with you 10 things that are going on for today. House panel set for Russia hacking hearings. That's going to be, I'll be watching that. Adam Schiff is going to be overseeing that one, and that will be on C-SPAN. Senate weighs in high court nominations. That's going to start today for the Supreme Court. And, of course, Chuck Berry. Hey, guys out there, think of Chuck Berry. Play one of his great songs and everything. And then, of course, you got Paul Ryan. They're going to talk about the revision that's going on with the Obamacare to help the older people. Also, they're going to put that work mandate in, which I think is going to be awesome. North Korea test fired a high-thrust rocket engine. That's scary stuff. That's an engine that will be able to reach the United States at any given time. So we got to deal with that. And like I said, we just need to blow them up. And of course, Jimmy Burslin passed away as well. And then the network website's plans. What risky move meetup takes. The network website plans to help coordinate protests among 120,000 activists involving. So there you go. Meetup is now getting into the political fray. Corporations getting into politics is just not a good thing. I mean, ask McDonald's how that worked out for them. And then, of course, we have wildfires going on in Boulder, Colorado, which they are saying now was purposely set. They said that.
Right.
And then, of course, Israel is apparently going to give. They've got some in the Israeli Antiquities Authority is going to be producing some artifacts from the time of Jesus, which is going to be for all of you biblical people out there and everything. That's coming out today. That is what you need to know for today. Oh my God, I cannot believe I just did that on the air.